right there. So I'm not going to be using, we are going to be using, actually, like, if I am not mistaken, there's going to be a patch in Grim Dawn, and patch is going to be, we're going to be discussing the patch today as well. I would like to actually, like, you know, talk about the patch when the patch notes are actually there. I would definitely prefer that. Maybe even, like, you know, do a content for YouTube too. That would be very big, because like this time actually, like, they're doing something interesting for Grim Dawn. Most of the time their attitude towards this game when it comes to like the quality of life improvement stuff was discussed, and from the new players especially, like jumping into this game, and they were saying like, you know, this would be good, that would be good. Like the developer's take was something along the lines of like, we have engine limitations, but then again, some of the mods were like capable of doing so. Even like third-party mods, such as like the one that I'm using right now is called Grim Internals, which is giving you quite a lot of like, you know, quality of life improvements. They're actually taking these and putting it into the game, and that is some next level thing, because like over the years that I played Grim Dawn, I have heard so many times that like, you know, we have these you know, engine limitations, and we cannot necessarily like do so much about it. Now that's not the attitude anymore. They actually have been working on it to improve the quality of life, and there has been a video that we made after the discussion with the community, thinking, you know, like what sort of quality of life improvements this game kind of like needs. And this has been like, I don't know, it's been about like a year, maybe it's a bit more. And I'm not gonna even like make up. If there was like 8 things that we asked for, I think 6 of them or something are going to be in the game now, with the patch that is coming up. So I wish the patch was already there, but I do believe that the patch is going to be hitting either tonight for Europe, or, you know, tomorrow for Europe. That is, and that is, I mean, I suppose that is today for US. Throughout the entire day, might be. Hopefully, it's going to be big. So, and it is. You know, I'm going to be talking about it like when the patch notes are actually there, I believe. Like, I don't necessarily want to be talking before that at all. So, we're gonna make a Nightblade here. Your videos on YouTube helps me a lot. I'm from Germany and very fresh too to the game. I like it too. Yo, how's it going, Mumple? Welcome to the stream. Glad that you enjoy the videos. Peiko is there as well. What's up, Peiko? What up, man? I'm going to be... You will actually be seeing me slow play this. And we are going to be talking about, for hopefully the newcomers to Grim Dawn, you know, what is it that you could do? Like, overall, I would like this to turn out to be a good VOD. Maybe even something that I would like to, you know, upload to YouTube. We'll see. We'll see. So there's one thing that like a lot of people are jumping into and, you know, killing literally everything. Like, you do maybe enjoy that, but it's obviously like very time consuming. At the end of the day, you're gonna most likely see me skipping some monsters. Hopefully it's not going to be triggering you so much. It will still be a lot slower than usual. Another unique feature of Grim Dawn is the fact that like you can turn the camera not only for aesthetics, but at the same time, actually, when you're playing ARPGs, you would like to, you know, go towards the northern side, or like top side of your screen for the most part, because your point of view is very limited. If you look at that crate to the top left, you can see it right now, but if it was at the bottom of the screen, there's absolutely no way I could see that crate, even though I didn't move anywhere. So this is one of the unique features of Grim Dawn, that you can actually be playing a little bit more defensively if you keep it on the top left or top right of your screen, which you will most likely be seeing me do quite a bit too. Hopefully that's another thing that's not going to be triggering you. But the amount of times like people have been, you know, leaving angry comments on YouTube about me rotating my camera. It is actually I don't know. I did end up making some sort of like a video for it. Hey, 3 levels from just reading. That was nice. We have like a horde that is following me right now. So, I would like to continue with melee, even though the Francis gun is actually quite good. We're gonna continue meleeing. And speaking of which, like, let's try and like find those other hidden weaponry. You know, these are like stable, these green weapons. I would be lying if I said like I know every single of the weapon locations. Not really. I just know like the Francis. That's Francis gun, I should say. It's always the one that I pick up at the very beginning. So let's venture around a little bit to try to find the others. We're also like level 2 finally, maybe even 3. Yeah, let's go with the Nightblade. Gonna do something interesting here. So Veil of Shadow is the aura of the Nightblade. I see a lot of people jumping into the game. One thing that I'll tell you is that, like, by design, you might not like what I will say right now, but it usually is the better case if you, you know, pick one thing and then try to, you know, max it out. Because if you think about it, this one is, you know, limited to like 16 clicks in it, right? There's 16 levels of Amarasta's Blade Burst. If you can get this like very early on, if you think about it, like it's balanced for the late game, 16 balanced through the entire game, if you think about it, right? For 16 points. But you have the option to like get all the 16 in like what, level 8 or something? Then imagine like how strong it would be. So that's usually like the case in this game. If you're leveling and if you would like to have some sort of like an easy game, definitely putting a lot of points into one thing, you know, having some sort of like a core or maybe maximum 2, and synergizing with like the same type of DPS would be also very good. In this case, it's going to be, you know, a little bit physical, a little bit cold. Later on, hopefully, it's going to be full cold. We'll see. Let me see if like I don't want to know is saying you're playing before the patch. It comes out very soon. I hope so too. Yeah, I wanted to basically today's reason that I'm playing, just so that like that is out of the way as well. Chrono GG is having a very good deal for Grim Dawn. Is just for today actually available. I think the base game is almost all the way up to 80% discount. So. Gremlin is saying kind of same here. Found your videos on YouTube as I played. Only played the first DLC and just one playthrough. The hassle to sort like out the resistances later on kind of deterred me from the game. Once you start understanding some of the things like the reputation system, the devotions, the skill build, and the itemization a little bit, of course, they all click together, and then you know you have a little bit of an easier time with the resistances. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look into this aura a little bit. So this ability must be toggled to maintain, so it's an aura, Veil of Shadow. One thing that's I don't necessarily like all that much, these flavor text, I do like them, but I wish they were a little bit, you know, better explained. So maybe like, you know, first flavor text and afterwards there was like a better explanation to do to the skill itself. Sometimes I feel like it's lacking. Definitely. So what does this do is like it reduces the total speed. Total speed is a stat, is a massive stat in the Grim Dawn. It's both cast speed, attack speed, and movement speed. So it's everything to do with the character when it comes to like the speed of it. It is reducing the total speed of, you know, anything in 3-meter radius, and the radius is increasing as I put points into it as well. But what is interesting is that the supporting node over here, the nice shell, is actually adding damage to it. So what we're gonna do is that like we're gonna rush for the nice shell and make some sort of like an aura that is capable of, you know, killing stuff around me, and hopefully we can pull it off. So like passively we will be killing stuff. That is what I want to do. But till then we need something to carry me, and most likely that's going to be the blade burst, I'm thinking. Another cool thing is that like if we click dual blades even just once, if you look at the yellow writing, it says this is a melee dual wielding bonus, also enables the ability to dual wield. So in this game you actually are not able to dual wield before this. So you can get this by being a Nightblade, or you could also get this with like a relic or something. If you can relate to one of my playthroughs recently, a Kabbalist, I am actually dual wielding on that guy even though it's not a Nightblade. I had to use a relic for it. Alright, we can have the left click Mutsu and the right click with the blade burst. Also, what I would like to do, what I like to do in this game is when you press Y on your keyboard, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be the same key binding for everyone, but Y for me. And as you can see, it's like switching to the second tab. I'd like to put my auras to the second tab in this game so that like I can use the first tab only for like active stuff. So we're gonna open the Veil of Shadow, and it's gonna stay open the entire time. So whenever I log into Grim Dawn, I just like press Y, you know, click the auras, all of them, make them active, and then, you know, switch back to the normal aura, normal tab, I should say. Hi Zoom, by the way, Peiko. Nice to see you, Brown. Speaking of which, I'm completely spaced out and never minded the weapons. Let's turn back a little bit and search for those weapons that I was mentioning. Let's see if we can find, at the very least, the axe. I think I want to find the axe. So in this very beginning, this town right over here, there are weapons just like the one that I found over here. The Francis gun. Remember, we can dual wield now, so I can put this over there if I wanted to. Let's see if I can find them. Is anything here? There's a corpse. That is the axe, in fact. I was quite lucky. So the axe, like, whose axe is this? All men's axe. This axe is going to be, like, over there every single game in that corpse. Same goes for the Francis pistol. It's going to be in that room on the corpse. Can start using that on the main hand, I suppose. One thing that I'm gonna say about the weaponry in this game is that, like, the comparison when it comes to the weapons, like, you will see that like 3 damage per second is changing there. That is not always true. Just so you know, like, don't, you know, blindly trust that information over there, simply because it's being heavily inflated by attack speed on the weapons. So if one weapon is a lot of DPS, and let's say it has like 200% cold damage increase or something like that, and then the other weapon is like 25% attack speed, it will always show that the attack speed one is better, even though that's not the case if you're especially dealing cold damage. You know what I mean? And there's a guy that we need to save right over here, right? Let's save him up. Come here. Yo, what's up, Ting? How's it going? We can arrange that, Chris. I read your message. Could arrange that later on tonight, if you're alive, if you're online, yeah. Ah. Can you message me on Discord maybe? Is that possible? Let's collect some Aether Crystals, guys. These are kind of like good resource for later on. I probably have quite a bit in the bank, but it doesn't really matter. Can definitely hit level 4 over here as well, soonish. A very small thing that I'm going to be talking about here is the health parts and the energy parts. You know, they're like key bound to 9 and 0. There's absolutely no way I'm pressing 9 and 0, you know? Like, that's definitely the case. But there's something like very interesting, is that like in the key bindings, if you like hit escape, go to options, key bindings, in this game there's like an extra, instead of like these quick bar slots, as you can see, like the 9 and the 0s over there, there's actually health on the energy pot drink option over here as well. So my drink energy potion is like on E, in fact, and my health potion is on Q. So even though it is not necessarily like showing over here, because that's not necessarily what I'm pressing. I'm just pressing, you know, use a health pot and use an energy pot. So we can in fact like just remove these all together, and I would still be able to use, you know, Q on my keyboard. I think it was from Diablo or something that I got used to that. I don't necessarily remember which game it was. But you could definitely change that for yourself if you would like to. So this also gives you the opportunity to put one more thing onto your bars if you would like to. Should we travel, do you think, like 3 points into that is enough. Let's start traveling. I want to maximize the aura as soon as possible. Let me know if everything is alright with the stream, guys. So right at the beginning of the game, there are two little things that you can quickly miss. One thing is this arrow right over here. It makes, you know, changes the size of the minimap, I suppose. And the other one is this thing, the loot filter. I don't necessarily like this loot filter all that much. Don't want to talk about it right now, but you can remove the common one for now, I think. Set the filter to defaults? No, definitely not. Let's go grab our first devotion point as well from this corner. I'm not recording, but I think I'm just going to be uploading my VOD later on. Should have probably recorded, honestly. That's a good idea. Don't know if my computer at this weather right now can handle, like, it is 40 degrees or something, I swear, right now. It's crazy. About the stats, you guys. For the most part, like, physique is still outvaluing most of the things, and even if you make a mistake, it is very easy to, like, turn back from them when you reach Act 5. In Malmeth, you do need the DLC. You're gonna have a quest that is rewarding you a reset option. But it's not a big deal. For the most part, I do prefer to go for physique for almost every single character of mine. It doesn't necessarily matter. Even if I'm, like, having, you know, a character that is going to be just fun to play. I feel like physique is a little bit, like, you know, over the top when it comes to the value that you gain from these things. So we're gonna put, like, only 1 point in the pneumatic burst. We don't need the shears, it's okay. That's some sort of, like, a proc from melee attacks. We'll take the pneumatic burst as well. Right over here. It's a buff. It gives you total speed this time, and it also restores your HP and gives a little bit of health regeneration too. There is one thing in this game that took me forever to learn. I was always opening a portal with L and then clicking the portal and then clicking, you know, wherever I wanted to go. You don't necessarily need to do that, apparently. And I was very relieved when I learned about this, but you know, with tab you can just open the map. You could literally just click the local, click Devil's Crossing, and instantly you will teleport there. Yo, cheers, Grish. That would help me remembering for sure after the stream. We're messing around with a Nightblade start, and we'll see how it goes. Ether crystals. I've already collected them. Did I also manage to collect any scraps? Not necessarily. Maybe the NPCs are selling some. Nope. The guy that we saved from the cabin, I believe he's actually gonna give me a scrap? But yeah, there's only one. Let's take this quest from here as well. So can we close the window, please? I guess burned to death after closing it. We have a belt now. Four points available. Just gonna drop them all. What is available to me now? Shadow Strike. That's pretty cool. Shadow Strike is going to be our mobility for the most part. It's also dealing damage, but... Pew with the host. How's it going, Pew? Thank you very much for the host. I appreciate it, bro. I think you were actually streaming Grimdawn as well. Pew is a Grimdawn Patho Exile streamer, I think, for the most part. Grimdawn, I would say. For the longest time too, Pew. Definitely check him out, guys. Chill guy. Nice company. Let's put physique. You can always turn back later on. How's it going, Stan? Nice to see you. Didn't I have a portal up already? That's like pretty close by, but let's use that portal instead. Right over there. And Pharos is going to be one of the targets that I actually need to kill. Pharos, you hurt, bro. I feel like I want to kill those little eyes. Happy little floating eyes. Eyeballs, even. Cyboom. With 4 months, in fact. Cheers for the sub. I appreciate your support, dude. What I like to do is like right at the beginning of the game, even if I'm like playing extremely fast, you know, usually most of my videos you will see that like I'm trying to, you know, speed level and stuff, because I have done that like so many times. What I like to do when it comes to like itemization, even when I am speed leveling, is you know, I collect like basic stuff right at the beginning, you know, yellow items like this one, and then I do close the yellows from the filter. You know, I don't see the rare items anymore. Let's open that chest. We do need the scrap, don't we? Scraps are usually dropping from chests and stuff. This one didn't give me anything. It did, however, give me a frozen heart, which is massive at the very beginning of the game. What's up, Rag? Hey Manuel, by the way. Pew was saying I'm a bail. Nice stream. Alright, I don't forgive you, Pew. Let's say, is anything to loot in this little camp? Let's see. We could put a couple of cunning points so that in the long run, like, I'm going to be okay. You know, equipping those daggers or whatever that I'll decide to, like, hold in my hands. Very early into the game as a Nightblade, if you end up, you know, finding yourself taking a lot of damage, you know, having some sort of like a yo-yo HP, as I like to call it, you can actually end up using, you know, putting maybe a couple more points into the pneumatic burst and using it like a secondary health potion definitely works out. But in the long run, like, it doesn't necessarily end up being a health potion, more like a buff, I would say. Like, you're gonna end up pressing it almost like every single cooldown instead of, you know, recognizing that you do need health. But early on, it definitely helps. The rotting ones. Brutal. Sup, Lucien? Three more points towards the nice gel. Almost there, you have to bear with me here. Milton Hearts. I know you're there. You cannot hide from me. Speaking of which, where is he? Did they change his location or something? Am I getting fooled here? Dude, I've killed you so many times in this location. Where are you at? We have a silver band. Did I, like in the process, end up finding any... Not necessarily. There's a quest item that we're gonna need to like find from the Sith. He has a couple more spawn locations now. Fair enough. Nice. Shining star on the map right now. Probably right there, I guess. Yikes. He does hurt. If you're good with your like clicks and stuff, this is one very good thing about Grim Dawn. You can easily abuse the monster swings. You know, like it is possible to not take any damage at all from slow hitting monsters like this, and Nightblade is definitely capable of slowing the monsters, you know, speed even further if I had like a couple more points into Blade of Shadow. Like Grim Dawn is extremely good when it comes to like, you know, recognizing the hits. It's on point basically. Like every time he's swinging a sword, you can understand when the damage is about to land, and you can, you know, step away. That in that case was like a special attack, I suppose, or maybe a crit. Attack speed is good. I'll put 1 cunning, just so that like I'll be able to wield stuff. I'll probably go all the way up to like 8 cunning or something. We'll see. I'm actually out of heal pots. Just realized. And offend, and it has a special name to it too. So I feel like this is always there. Is this like a leveling tutorial? Not necessarily, no. I have a lot of leveling tutorials, I think. Don't really need to make one more, no. 10 to 20. I think this is like a general talk of Grim Dawn, mostly. There will most likely be a lot of like pointers for leveling as well throughout the entire one. Yeah, recently I've lost some, you know, facial hair. How'd you find it, girl? I'm not an imposter, I swear. The other guy was a fake one. This is the real guy. So, what does this add to our Blade of Shadow aura? It adds cold damage, frostburn damage. Frostburn is like the, you know, damage over time version of cold. And it also reduces pierce, cold, and poison resistance of the enemies around me. It is probably scaling with the same radius. So it is 3 meter radius, so it's gonna go like hand in hand. We're gonna need to like, you know, probably max this one out first, and then maybe have a couple more points into this later on, so that like we have a little bit like bigger of an AoE range. You look very young now, yeah. I thank you, girl. Hey. Early 20s? I have the same problem, so I don't shave anymore. Problem. That's an interesting way of putting it. Proud of the 31 years. I'm proud of 27. So, the Sleth necklaces from these snake creatures right over here. Don't you mean like 16? Yeah, exactly like 16. Yeah, you cannot hold the time, man, unfortunately. We gotta find 3 of those Slith necklaces, especially if I'm like, you know, starting some sort of like a fresh run to Grim Dawn. I'm not going to be using all the stuff in my stash and stuff. You know, sometimes I do reset my account. I actually have been thinking about doing it one more time so that like I can have it fresh going again. And yeah, I really do like to do this quest, especially if I'm starting in Veteran. It helps me a lot with like the elemental resistances, especially very beginning of the game. It ends up giving you like a ring basically. For 3 Sleth necklaces, we have only 1 so far. How's it going, Wraith? Welcome. In a couple hours, Manu. Are you up for it? What is this build going to be? We're messing around with like a Nightblade Leveling, guys. Slowly discussing and trying something out. Right, this is going to be our second point into devotions, right? I didn't necessarily distribute the first one, it wasn't necessary. But with this one, it will be. Ouch. I'm guessing full, huh? Do I need to pick these up? Let's see. Magic Helm, I don't really like that. Two-hander mace, not really. And how many, how are we doing with the necklaces? That wasn't even the necklace. I show you the heart's Ami, but Slith necklaces are in fact over here. We have 3 of them. So what we could do is actually like we could TP back to Whitemire, go for that quest right away. And afterwards, I think I want to like return some quests in the base as well. Devil's Crossing. Is this going to be for YouTube as well? Yeah. Yes, I'll most likely be putting this up on YouTube as well if I end up, you know, liking my VOD, most likely. Well, these necklaces suffice. Primal Ring. Right, so as I, you know, discussed at the very beginning, we're going to be maxing this out because I want to depend on this when it comes to like carrying me through the early game. And in that case, like to scale this higher, like as you can see, it is like flat damage. It doesn't necessarily like, you know, utilize my weapon. So we're gonna need like cold damage percentages or, you know, frostburn damage percentages on our gear, maybe on our weapon, maybe from devotions, you know, maybe from like the other skills for sure. And that's gonna scale the damage that it can deal as well. And I'm thinking like, you know, this is one of those things in this game, like, you know, it might be a little bit easier for you to like jump into this game and like see these after selecting Nightblade. It is a little bit easier because like you have only 3 options right over there, and then maybe 3 more, you know, at like 5, and then it continues that way. But when you open the devotions, it's a bit more, you know, overwhelming, it might be. But one thing that I say to the newer players is that like most of the time, just because this looks this complicated doesn't necessarily mean you have that many options. So what are we doing here? As I said, it's cold and frostburn, right? So if I would go here and then I would write cold, that is not how it is written. You're gonna have the cold options, you know, pinging, and you know these are like the tier 1 ones. The closer you are to the center is the beginning of the game, so I cannot necessarily go there yet, or you know, I cannot necessarily go here, or you get my point. So we can, however, go for the tsunami. It requires a blue start, so we'll go into the tsunami, take that cold damage percentage from my character, and at the end we will also have a proc for it. So if you can keep this simple, it's incredibly easy to respec out of devotions later on as well. You will actually have like a good thing. So what your character needs, as in your case, maybe it's going to be, I don't know, chaos damage. You can write chaos here, and you can, you know, look at just those nodes, especially at the starting tree, and then build up to the ones that are like valuable later on. And you cannot necessarily make any mistake when it comes to this. I'll be lurking a bit, time to grind some World of Warcraft. Just picking on the save. By the way, you look much younger though. Yeah, but like, do you think it looks better? Kappa Pride, or do you have a mythical Band of the Eternal Pyre? I don't know. What's up, Sizen? How you doing, buddy? Let's sell some stuff, guys. 64 armor on these pens. I'll gladly use those over the ones that I had. When I'm looking, it's okay. So another thing that's, you know, very new players can actually have a hard time is itemization. Right now, what I'm looking at my items is extremely simple. I'm looking HP, I'm looking resistance, and I'm looking for cold damage or frostburn damage. Usually it's cold damage because like frostburn is like pairing usually. You know, if there's frostburn, there's usually cold. And I'm not talking about flat numbers, I'm talking about percentages. So I look at an item, if it has HP, okay, maybe I could use it, you know? If it has resistances and then compared to my shitty stuff right now, I could probably use that too. Like this one, for instance, over here is extremely valuable in my opinion for the early on. The only thing that I would have preferred in an item like this is probably movement speed because it's boots. Otherwise, it's very good. We have the scrap that this guy needs as well, the Barnabas. Finally. Let's run through the cave. I'm gonna give a couple of cunning, as I said. Like, so far 2 points spent. Let's make that 3. We'll go for like 8, and I think 8 should be more than enough throughout the entire game, since we are getting a lot more cunning from like the mastery bar of Nightblade as well. So if I leave my character AFK in the middle of everything instead of attacking them, I do get to kill, but it does take a while, right? It's not necessarily like an instant kill. We do need to open the doors ourselves though. So our point is to like in the earlier on, I kind of want to like scale this damage that is, you know, passively hitting the enemies around me. Like there's 50-50 is the damage number right now, I suppose. I want to scale it as high as possible and see how it is going to be, you know, taking me up to which level. We'll see. One thing that I'm missing is that like we could definitely take a point into the Lethal Assault. I'll talk about the Lethal Assault a little bit more later on, especially when we start focusing into that. Because that's a very cool node that you can go for in almost every single Nightblade build. No matter like what you're doing, even if you don't necessarily, you know, commit into the blade burst, you might still need like all the points into Lethal Assault. The ring that we have gotten from that quest reward with the Sleth necklaces, we could actually like check that out too. Didn't even show it on stream, I think. It's this thing right over here, the Sleth Primal Ring. It's a good starting thing. A lot of beasts that you're gonna kill. 10% is like multiplicative with every single other thing. Gives you a little bit of like regeneration. And most importantly, it's elemental resistance. Alright, so it was pinging about like 50 damage, right? I usually don't necessarily enjoy picking up a secondary class at this point of the game. There could be some exceptions, and the exception would probably be somewhat like a mobility. If I'm going to end up like picking up Nightblade as a secondary class, let's say, and if I really want to go fast, then in that case I would like to get the Shadow Strike as soon as possible. So I might pick Nightblade in that case, like as soon as possible, but otherwise, usually just focus on like getting my character as strong as possible, giving a lot of points into the main abilities. His damage seems to be picking about like 57 now. Not that much higher, but especially on single target, big dudes like this is going to be a problem, it looks like, right? Oh, the demonic gold band. Light hit resistance for me. It's gonna use it. Check down over here as well, maybe there's something. Very good, I think. Let's go return the quest. I'll also check out like what this point is from the devotions. We are taking 15 spirits and 10 defensive ability, not the biggest deal. I'm gonna put 1 point into the Shadow Strike when I level up. Should have done this a bit earlier, I feel like. So, she gives, what do you get? A necklace. It's definitely better than mine. It's giving me some more HP. What is this, you guys? Look at this one, for instance, like elemental damage 10%. That's definitely capable of scaling both my aura and my attacks. With the cold, of course. And on top has a little bit of like resistance, chaos resistance. Lightbringer's copper band. Can start using those boots that we discussed earlier. Is that terrible? Casting speed? Let's sell these. I'll talk to the guy upstairs as well. The spirit guide. A little bit of experience from here. Did you do a full reset again? No, not yet. I don't know if I will anytime soon. We'll see. There were a lot of people like not understanding the point of full resetting. It just gives the resetter a lot more content. When you're leveling a new character, it goes extremely fast if you have stuff in the bank, and it goes almost like there's almost no point grinding at the late game if you have all the legendaries in the bank, right? But if you reset, then you don't have anything, so the leveling process would be longer if you enjoy that, of course. You will be actually excited for the items that you end up finding, even though, you know, since you reset. So it's not going to be the 8th legendary same item dropping one more time, and you're like, oh, it's these pair of boots again. No, not really. It's the first time that you're finding them, so it's definitely adding to the content that you would get out of Grim Dawn. But it's definitely not for everyone, though. I have too many hours in Grim Dawn, so sometimes it's possible for me to complete the burnout. And when I would like to come back to it, I usually do prefer doing a full reset so that like I don't necessarily go to my bank every 5 minutes and I'm like, do I have this as well? You know, that's going to be just messing up with the playthrough, in my opinion. It's gonna make better. It's gonna make the content worse as well. The content that I'm making for Twitch and YouTube, for sure. So in the fields over here, like going against Slith again, and they have some sort of like a prisoner somewhere. Let's check them out. I do not have a second mastery plan yet. I think we might not even have it today. We'll see though. We found them. Sometimes, he's on the left side of the map. But when I find him like on the first two spots, so this is like the first spot and this is the second one, we found him on the second, of course. I think at this point I'm going to be closing the magic drops. We're gonna start only looking at the rare stuff. But yeah, if I end up finding him on the first or the second spot, I usually just go ahead and continue running. Instead of, you know, checking the left side of the map. There's no need. We're already actually out-leveling, even though I'm not necessarily killing literally everything or like, you know, checking out the entire map, as you can tell. There are cool little things in this game, like this one right over here, the bridge. You have the option to like repair if you would like to pay up. And in that regard, you're obviously like making some sort of like a shortcut for yourself. In this case, we're gonna take the cave, especially because of the devotion shrine inside it. How about a trickster? Doesn't sound too bad to me. Trickster is the combination of Nightblade and Shaman, you guys. Trickster, Infiltrator. What was the combination name of Inquisitore and Nightblade? Dervish? No. So Dervish would be Oathkeeper combination, and then the Inquisitor combination would be what would it be? Doesn't show because I need to put a point into it. I think I said it right, but turn on some lights. Your camera is extra dark. Sure. I got you. Let me get my devotion shine. It just became dark, man. Just before you came to the stream. I blame you on this one. You just tuned in. I swear it wasn't like this when I started. Alright. Been doing a trickster on my own, but have been struggling with the survival. Would love to see Mala level 1 or some tips. The trickster is tricky for the hardcore. I actually believe Zonat, like if you pay lots of attention, trickster is fine for hardcore. Obviously, like a lot more susceptible than something like a warlord, like for sure. But for instance, like Saboteur would be a lot more tricky, or trickier, I should say, right? Instead, than trickster. I think so, at least. Even though I don't necessarily have either one of the characters, I would assume so. Hex is saying, I live in Belgium too, it is pretty decent outside. Alright, fine, you got me. There's sometimes some sort of like a loot on the right side over here. And not this time. Just scraps. Yeah, I don't want to know who is pointing out the blast shield coming from the demo. Especially with the recent changes, like back-to-back couple of patches, blast shield getting buffed up. I wouldn't be surprised. It's actually like so much better right now. It was very good for my shield breaker. But then again, with my shield breaker, since I had like Oathkeeper, Resilience or something like that, I don't necessarily remember the name of it. I could check it out right now. Shambler. It was pairing together, and it was just, you know, much better in that sense. Okay, let's see. From the Oathkeeper, there's this thing, the Resilience. Yeah, I remember that's right. So it could definitely go hand to hand with like the Blast Shield. In that case, it was, you know, crazy strong, of course. Alright, one more point into this is Frostburn and plus 15 physique. That said, let's get some light. How about this? Necromancer gives a lot of health too. Alright, maxed out on the Nice Shield, however, I think I'm actually gonna give 1 point here, and then we can start bouncing around a little bit. The Shadow Strike. I'll find the engram for you. So we have new shoulders. The Stonehide Vitality. Like, this is a little bit lucky. Not gonna lie. This is crazy. Forest Studs. These are definitely better weapons than mine. I am still looking for some cold multipliers then. Racy is asking if I have the base game, I need to buy Ashes of Malmoth and Forgotten Gods, or only the last one is needed. You're gonna need to buy Malmoth and then Forgotten Gods. Because it goes like, you know, Act 5, Act 6, and then 7, even though the game doesn't necessarily name the acts, I believe. I think the Grim Tools and I have been pulling them out for some time. Do you think I could survive versus... Not at this level. let's not talk about that. Right, so the aura is in fact like hitting a little bit harder, don't you think? With 10, I'm definitely going to be giving a couple more points into this Veil of Shadow. Let's try and like observe my aura, like how much is this hitting for. We didn't really like scale it so much from my items or my devotions, but if I don't attack anything, am I capable of like killing stuff still? Yeah, I need to be very close to them. I think the aura's range is not that promising right now. But yeah, this is what I want to do. Something a little bit goofy. That is going to be, you know, like a passive damage style. And you definitely have the option to do this. Yeah, this one is increasing the area of effect. Gonna put a couple more points into that. It's also making the game a lot more easier, yeah. So the total speed and the offensive ability makes a massive difference at the start of the game, because it's a flat number and it's, you know, it is balanced around like the entire game almost. Even though at the early game, you know, the monsters, isn't they, have very limited amounts of like, let's say, offensive ability. You still do dumpster their offensive ability like this. So I'm gonna go take the Barwich village waypoints, and then we turn back for the cave, because there is a devotional shrine and a close by cave right here. By the way, thank you very much for joining the stream. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I stream every day. And today for the deal of Chrono, and tomorrow I'll be definitely showcasing some Grim Dawn too. Because I think the sale is pretty big. It's a very good deal. Yo, what's up, Naomi? Welcome. Ting is asking if the patch is tomorrow. I think the patch is very soon, but I don't believe they have said like when exactly. Maybe on Discord they mentioned. I think Zente mentioned on Discord, but I don't necessarily check it out myself. So this is something that I read on Reddit or something. So this is like the third person speaking. I haven't been using my Shadow Strike so far, I just realized. I feel so embarrassed when something like this happens. I don't know why. Ooh, tainted brain matters. So at this point, I think I'm gonna just jump back really quickly to this waypoint. Let's go to that cave right over here. Grab 2 more points into cunning. Let's do it. Yeah, grab the devotion shrine. You're such a hater, Naomi. About the camera turning, by the way, like, if you're using something like Shadow Strike, you could definitely like abuse the top corners of your screen. Because it doesn't necessarily have a distance, you know, like you can travel some ways with this ability, for sure. Let's get some like Aether Crystals too. Drish was saying Cold Stone is busted early game. If I can, or if you're following this type of like playthrough, if you can craft 2 Cold Stones into a build like this, you're going to be absolutely overpowered. And we will do it when I turn back to the town. So this is why we were here. We're gonna take this Snummy as well. That is giving me 24% cold damage multiplier. Let's go back to Barwich Village. There's something that I want to do on like the western side, I think. A couple of tigers that we need to kill, and we're gonna need to like save the cook. Hey, Brizzle.
WMOT Grim Dawn Big Jive.
How is it going, Brizzle? Thank you very much for the 9 months. I appreciate it. I've actually like recently revealed this on stream, but that wasn't necessarily that many people, and I didn't really tell this on YouTube or my social media either. We're actually 6 months into it, and me and my wife Sakina, we're gonna have a 3rd person join our family soon. The due date is October 15th, and as excited as I am, also a little bit terrified. Oh, this is very scary right now. What is going on? Come with me. It's a boy. Please. Papa Malagant? Yeah, pretty much. That is the secret tactic, guys. That's why my sleep schedule is all messed up right now. I'm just preparing. Practice. Let's check inside this house. I don't necessarily know what is here. There's a couple of chests and a corpse. Manuel is saying sure. Yeah, cheers, boy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bizzle. There's a note inside. We have a couple more levels. I think I'm just gonna sink everything into this so that like our range, if you remember on the first point it was only 3 meters, now it's 4.4. I'm actually gonna put it all the way up to 10 as soon as possible. I don't really mind it so much. And then we will talk about like our next step. Alright, so this is going to be it all the way up to like Barwich Village. Let's turn back and see like what sort of quests we can, you know, turn back. And then we'll go for like the Warden himself. Yo, what's up, QNR? I'm not friendly with the Devil's Crossing. That is also unlocking a quest right over here. The fabric request from this woman. Yeah, there's some sort of like a reputation system in this game. It's not only unlocking, you know, several new quests in some cities or like some towns. But at the same time, you know, there are like quartermasters that you can like utilize and buy items from off. I think this is tiny little bit better than mine. You see, this is the type of thing that we need, like cold damage, frostburn damage with the increased duration. I mean, this chest right over here, just because of the armor upgrade, was already good. But that is literally what I'm looking at for the most part, I would say. Aether resistance Elizabeth, the left side doesn't have any resistances. We'll definitely prefer that one as an offhand. I wouldn't like to use it. I think I'm just gonna dual wield. We could start using the new gloves right over there. These, they don't really matter. This guy right over here has like 9% cold damage. Doesn't matter so much then. Alright, sink all the points there. Let's get 1-1, going all the way up to 8 points spent. So we were talking about components in this game. One thing that I can tell you is that like at any point in the game, like there's almost no reason not to use components, simply because you can take out the component later on, especially, you know, if you're going to be replacing the item. And one other thing is that like you're capable of upgrading a component. So this one is a partial component and you need like 2 more of these to make it into a chipped. But if I like put this, you know, partial components onto my weapon, as I found more chipped clothes, the partial ones, I could actually like unite them on top of the weapon. That's pretty cool. Or for the other pieces it's the same. So you don't necessarily need like a completed version to start putting those onto your gear. That's very interesting. So we're gonna cheat a little bit here and have some fun. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna craft some cold stones. This one right over here, it requires actually, yeah, in total it's gonna require me to be, to begin with, it's gonna require me to be like level 20, but at the same time it's gonna require some other stuff too. 8 chilled steels, in fact. This could be used on like melee shield, melee weapon shield, and caster offense. We'll be able to like use 2 of these, and up until then we could actually like take chilled steals from the bank, put those onto our weapon so that like it's not empty at least. And I think I go. Thing is saying, going to head out. Nice to see you, Grimdawn, again. See you tomorrow. Catch you later on, bro. Have a nice one. Grish was saying, yeah, forget about the sleep for like a year when it is born. Congrats, though. Hope it will be easy for both of you. Thank you, Grish. Cheers. What is the aura like right now? 20% total speed and minus 100 offensive ability. It is even capable of critting, as you can see. There's a nice little cave right over here that I like to hit. If I'm playing the game kind of like, let's say, seriously or something, you know? Caring about my gearing or like, you know, really liking my character and doing like almost all the content. This cave right here. This is funny. So this is the guy. Well, this guy is the reason why we are here, actually, and his horde, basically this thing, the monsters horde. It's actually a one-shot chest. What that means is that, like, if I reset my game, this chest is not going to be here anymore because, like, I've already interacted with it on this character. So it is once per difficulty. There are a couple of chests like this throughout the entire game. And I call them, yeah, one-shots. We have gotten, like, 2. But this is very good. 14% movement speed, 100 armor. A little bit of fire resistance, it's like, whatever. The belt is all damage, spirit, and offensive ability. Believe it or not, it is better than mine for now, but let's see if they're going to be using it later on. It's a very defensive chest piece right over here. I think I'm going to be using it. Mine doesn't really like give me anything, so might as well. This one's like lightning and poison. One thing that I like is that, like, in this game you don't necessarily need to have the quest to start gathering the quest, you know, objectives or like items and stuff. But if you have the quest, then it obviously like shows you if there's a quest objective close by. So most of the time, even when I'm speedrunning, I usually try and take this quest from Devil's Crossing. Because otherwise, like, think about it this way, this fabric can be spawning in about like 8 different locations or something here, so I'm gonna need to like check them all. So the minimap showing me where the fabric exactly is actually is making my, you know, playthrough much smoother. Soul's Touch. That's good. Never say no to notes. Experience. Let's go from this side. There's nothing to attack. Everything dies to my aura. We could actually like stop with the Veil of Shadow for now. And I actually wanted to talk about the lethal itself just a little bit. I'm gonna put only 1 point in the Shadow Dance. Just so that we take a little bit of value out of that. But the lethal assault now, as you can see, like lethal assault affects all attacks while active, so it's like a default buff, let's say, for the character, as long as like we have this, and the buff stays for 4 seconds every time. You know, it refreshes itself every time I blade burst, and we're almost always blade bursting. So we're gonna have this like pretty much up all the time. And what we're gaining from it is a little bit of cold damage, which is adding on top of our weapon attacks. And then we're also gaining a little bit of offensive ability and multipliers to cold and frostburn. In our case, those are the ones that matter. So I think the next is going to be that thing that we'll max out, definitely. The lethal assault. Oh, we're gonna need to go under. I've been trying to figure out a way to not hit the cave right over there, but like I always fail with this. Fine, I'm coming for you. One good thing about this cave is that sometimes there's a dynamite inside. We can hope. How's it going, Sal? Cheers, by the way, Beltano. Just saw your message. About the little chest corpses, these like scraps, as I call them, there was a dynamite this time inside. Or, you know, the little junk piles and stuff like this. If you watch one of my like speed leveling videos, there's various of them in YouTube. I usually do skip them. But one thing that I can tell you, even if you like open a new character on a new account, even if you're like an experienced player, most of the time like it's okay to not explore everything. But on a character, on an account like that, which is like, you know, searching for almost everything in the game, hitting up every single chest is very good in this game because of, you know, for the most part it's for the components. They're like very good resources for components, and at the same time scraps, iron bets is the gold. Extremely good. So I cannot necessarily say the same thing for like the experience. We are already out leveling quite a bit actually what I am doing right now. Like look at this level 14 walking that it just disappears as it comes close to me. But the same thing cannot be said for like the chests. I would definitely need them if my bank was empty. And it's a very good thing about this game in that regard. I swear it is like an oven inside right now. Is this the valuable point, you guys? Is this the one that is gonna give me tsunami? Let's see. Elemental damage on the helm. Give me that thing. Pants with HP and chaos resistance. We do need the helm. I'm just gonna drop the other one. I don't really know about the pants. Probably not. I'm okay for now. We finally also have something like this. Mistakenly dropped on the floor. There's experience gain percentage, elemental resistance, as well as HP, and some elemental damage too. That is basically like what we can hope for at this level. Honestly, that like it cannot get better than this almost. How many points so far in the cunning? Right, one more. I didn't reset Poil. Maybe in the future. I think I'm looking forward to a reset with like a patch that is gonna yeah, excite me or something. Definitely hype me up. Going to be a couple of patches throughout 2019. It's a dungeon patch, and there's the one that we're expecting anytime now. As you know, like every single content, like DLC is coming up with like a, well, so far the expansion that is, there was a patch with like the Port Valkyrie over there, and then afterwards, you know, Ashes of Malmouth came, and then Ancient Grove came as a patch, and now we have the Act 7, the Corvan Basin, and it doesn't have a, you know, Skeleton Key dungeon, it doesn't have a roguelike dungeon. That is going to be the dungeon that I'm speaking of. And for that one, maybe I could actually like reset my entire account and we could have a fresh start and see the progression. We'll see. Didn't really like decide on anything yet. Okay. I was having a hard time clicking there. Yes, it was, by the way. We have this Tsunami. Gonna use it with like the Blade Burst. It's just that little wave of, I don't know, cold that you see on the floor. That is the Tsunami that we have just taken from our devotions, and it's attached to the Blade Burst. It probably has a chance. It's 63% chance on every single Blade Burst. Level 16. Ah, this is my last point into Cunning forever. I'll max out the lethal assaults. Oh, there's something here. So we can start using the mobility boots, movement speed. Let me see if there's like any weapon that's a scaling cold. Not really. There's actually nothing that we can use right now. Most of the time when you're playing a cold character like this one, killing the cold ones could actually be a little bit boring or like tricky. But since we have this thing going on for us, like minus cold resistance to the enemies around me, it's actually making it a lot easier even in the early levels, for sure. Let me know what you think about like these like environmental damage stuff in Grim Dawn. Do you like the Aether Ground or like stuff like this on the floor? If you're watching from YouTube, you could also tell in the comment section below. No one else is reading other than me, so tell us the truth. Did you ever die to the Aether Ground? No need to be shy. Manuel is saying not yet? No way. Yeah, you cannot tell me that you didn't die to. I don't want to spoil stuff so much because there might be a lot of like new people playing. No way. I even like almost died. I think I just like exited the game or something. I said I even because like I don't really mess around with Aether Ground so much. But there was one place that was like very interesting I wanted to explore. And I almost paid the price. How are our resistances, you guys? Look at the resistances, man. So good. And we are not even utilizing the components yet. Like a pro. I don't want to know what's saying. Percentage health reduction doesn't make much sense, so he doesn't like it so much. Would you suggest like maybe them instead being, you know... Is that even a word? Mitigatable? You know, that something that you can mitigate, because you can't. Like, that is percentage. I mean, actually you could with like Maven's Fear or something. I think the percentage damage reduction is working even against the environmental effects in this game. But other than that, I'm not really sure if anything else. Maybe even the flat absorption is working. Flat absorption might be working too, guys. I need to remember those. I'm not sure. The bird is the word. So this is done. Let's check like another something cold. What are we building up to? Like, obviously the blizzard effect from this guy is quite cool. Something else is the murmur. That's kind of cool as well. A green and red. This one requires 3 more greens and, I mean, sorry, 6 more greens and 3 more reds, sorry. This one's like something that I really like to go for. A little bit defensive, but on a Nightblade, like, we should be building a little bit defensive anyways. We'll be like up in there for the most part. And that's pretty much about it, honestly. I mean, we also have the Leviathan. There's one thing about the Leviathan is that, like, I don't really like the color build up. Like, I don't necessarily enjoy going for like 13. Like, green is fine, but the purple I really dislike. My options when it comes to purple in this game. I find it a little bit too expensive in that regard. So even though I really like the proc, the whirlpool, it is very fun to play with. Most of the time I have not gone for it. I think I prefer Viper over Ultos. So we have 2 options here, I would say. Like, Murmur is one of them, and the other one would be like up over here, the Amatok. We're pretty close to the Amatok. I only need like 1 more green in the base and then 3 more from like a Hawk or something. We could also go for like Skull is Light, which is quite good for me because elemental damage, it's a bit of energy regeneration and resistances. This is a very good leveling, the Constellation. So let's go for it. Another really interesting trick that you can do is that, like, if you're, you know, kind of obsessed about like min-maxing or like rushing for things, like I am in ARPGs, I'm that way. You could, like, you know, for most of my builds, you will have this problem of like checking out my devotions and you're like, this doesn't make any sense, you know, he doesn't have any points in the crossroads even. For the most part, like when you complete a constellation, they're also paying back something, and in some cases it's possible that, like, you know, in this case for instance, we went for Tsunami by taking the crossroads 1 point blue because we needed to unlock it, but now that we have completed it, we have actually like 6 to work with, 6 blues. But we only need 5, so we could actually like remove this, respec out of it, you know? So now I could actually like put that into our new one. Even though I want to pick up green, apparently I picked up a red, so that is, let's not talk about that one. I need a crystal or what? We're good. Alright, there we go. Times like these, I'm glad that I don't have my Twitch chat on the video itself. What's up, Tarnished? Let's go kill Mr. Warden. I'm gonna gather the Aether Crystals here. One other thing is that, like, if you would like to farm Aether Crystals, you can teleport to the last waypoint in Act 1, which is the one that we're about to take soon, and then just walk backwards, doing the rotation that I'm doing right now, but in the backwards fashion, of course. And you're gonna get a lot of Aether Crystals unless you're, like, you know, absolutely over leveling it, out leveling it, I should say. How's it going, Best Raid? Welcome. Always lurking. Lurk, lurk. How are we looking here? I was still going for the Leafless Out, right? We're done with the cunning, everything into physique now. Sitting on like 1500 HP almost, for the most part, like when it comes to the HP in this game, what you can judge, like if you have enough HP or not, especially for like hardcore players out there, if you would like to have some sort of like a challenge for yourself. At the very least, try to be staying somewhat about like, you know, 100 times of your level. Yeah, in this case I would like to have like 1700 HP. In fact, that would be like the base, you know. From that moment, obviously, like anything about that would be good. But right now it is very early on into the game. I don't necessarily need to like worry about it so much. Sizen is saying, started a game of TFT with a friend, loading screen never showed up, gaming progress, but hey, the game didn't start 6 times restarting till I get to loading screen, only to come back like 7 to life with like no characters, no goal. I'm not really sure how you guys like managed to pull that off, but you are not the only one. Yesterday, Sakina was saying the same thing that happened to her. She needed to like restart a couple of times. Manu had the same issue as well. I think there's something to do with like alt tabbing while the loading screen is launching or something like that. She's talking about Teamfight Tactics, guys. I started playing Teamfight Tactics quite a bit. I'm streaming it quite a bit as well. I'm despised by the ethereals. We can go for exploration a little bit. Even though I'm a little bit higher level than I should be. Actually, maybe even not. Like, killing Warden about like level 17, 18 is kind of fine. I wouldn't say like I'm out leveling so much. Actually, it's okay. Let's go try to find the Spider Cave. It's like a hidden-ish entrance. Look, I'll find it. Everything is under control, by the way. I do know where it is. I hope so, at least. Yeah, there we go. These are the right monsters. Dragless the Leaper. There is a one-shot chest spawn inside this cave as well, but if I'm not mistaken, there's like another cave as well that is kind of look-alike. So sometimes it's there and sometimes it's here kind of thing, I think. Not sure. So you might not be able to find it in this run. I'm not going to try hard and try to find a second cave. It's alright. It's not the worst deal. It's not the biggest deal, I should say. 3 points there. Thanks to all the resistance and like regeneration with like almost double potion from the pneumatic burst and the half bots, of course. We're actually capable of like standing in melee range with like, you know, elites right now. Briar Thorn Band. What's my 2B? Sounded like thorns or something, right? Bleed damage. Yeah, this belt, even though it is extremely questionable, is better than mine. We'll use that for now. Yeah, I think that's the case, by the way. The one-shot chest wasn't here this time, unfortunately. It's there. There's no such, there's no type of like build or anything that I'm going for. Just messing around, you could say. And we're also discussing the Nightblade start as cold. Even though we are going like dual wield, for the most part my damage is, like if you pay attention, my damage is not necessarily coming from attacking my target. It's not necessarily like the best thing against targets like the ones that are like the one that I'm about to fight right now, not necessarily. But when it comes to leveling, which is like requiring a lot of AoE from you, it's kind of cool. It's a mobile character as well. I'm gonna need to dodge some stuff here, I think. Ouch. Let's act as one. And another one shot. Let's see if we have anything that I could use. Tainted Brain Matter is good. Zealots, Gauntlets, Attack Speed, Disruption, Protection. Kinda meh. It's a clock. So that is the Act 1, you guys. The entire playthrough. Obviously played it extremely slower than I usually do, without like any leveling items or speed items and such. But I did not change anything when it comes to like my devotions or like my skill build, or I think even my routing was, you know, pathing I should say, was about the same, I would say. Oh, the Howling. This is definitely better than what I'm wearing right now, say. I like the Howling Wind because like it's cold damage and we're scaling it. I'm gonna sell these. They don't have any resistance, man. Music if you need some. I think I'm gonna put my VOD into my channel in YouTube and hear me. I cannot listen to music right now, sorry. I'll check it out if you message me at them. To give the fabric as well. Remember we made some cold stones were level 20. Can't actually wait for it. Even though like I made them, I didn't really like think about, talk about rather, what they do, right? So what they do is they actually give you an aura that you can like open, and we're gonna have 2 of them, which is gonna in total give me about like 200% cold damage and frostburn damage. And in it, like weak character like this one is a massive deal, of course. So 200% more cold damage dealt is crazy. A cool trick at this point is that like if you have the DLC, if you bought the Forgotten Gods, you have the option at this point to like basically start, no matter like what you're playing, right? Basically start that DLC, and even like I don't necessarily advise you to start Forgotten Gods at this point, to be honest with you. I think it's a little bit better to just like, you know, continue the entire thing, and do things like in the right order, you know what I mean, like after the Act 4, after killing like the last boss over there or whatever, and then starting like the Ashes of Malmoth expansion and then coming back for this side. There's one cool thing that I would like to mention here, is that like, let's go right over here. It is with the addition of Forgotten Gods, they've implemented like the components for medals basically, and you can get this even at this level, and mobility components for everyone. So in our case, we are a Nightblade. Let's say if you were like a Arcanist or something, you don't necessarily have a mobility at this point, but you could if you come here, definitely. Yeah, it's this guy, right? What's my poison resistance? I'm sitting inside that thing, man. It's 20%. Let me loot. The Guardsman Hound. Not really. Oh, one thing that you can do is that, like, I like to do this. Let's get that. So that 6 type of, like, you know, mobility augments. These things applied to medals. This is the one that you want, basically. I'm gonna go for, like, the Shadowy Assassin. It's pretty much, like, exactly the same thing as Shadow Strike, if I'm not mistaken. But you could definitely check out, like, the other quartermasters as well. If you pay attention, like, it will require you to be, you know, what is this, friendly or respected? It's just friendly, I think. It will require you to be friendly. And to be friendly, you will need to, like, do the first quest, which is the one actually, like, we're doing. So check out, like, all the quartermasters. Depending on, like, which mobility you want, you kind of want to choose them, because you're gonna need the reputation with them. So this one already gave a little bit of reputation to us, this quest that we have just done. And then I'll also need to, like, talk to my quartermaster and select them, and that should give me friendly reputation. So we're selecting the Bismail in this case. See, we're friendly with the Cult of Bismail. I'll be back soon. I don't want to start this expansion right now, but I will take the Shadowy Assassin. A couple of them, in fact. Just keep them in my bags. So, we can put this here. We have the Vanish. I mean, in this case, it doesn't necessarily matter that much, because we already had a Shadow Strike. As you can see, this is my Shadow Strike, and this is my Vanish. And I can, like, chain these and have, well, thanks to them, have that much more, you know, travel time, speed. I'll start Act 2 now, though. So at this point, we have a decision to make. We could go a couple more points into like Pneumatic Burst, especially for like the movement speed. If you remember, like this is giving us total speed, which is like my attack speed and my movement speed, and I'm probably not even like close to being capped with the movement speed. My run speed is 114 right now. It is capping at 135. If I open the Pneumatic Burst, it's 118, so we could actually use about like, you know, 17% or something more. So I think I'm gonna take a couple points more into the Pneumatic Burst, maybe like just 5 points or something. It's quite relevant right now though. Have you considered the Reaper from Necromancer for the double aura? Would work. Would definitely work. You could go for a Saboteur as well, which would add fire damage in that case. We would continue with elemental damage scaling for the most part. A little bit of a trick with this guy if you want to like save him and his family. The option to click over here is always like where you start your conversation at. So if you keep your mouse in the same place and just spam click, you're basically clicking the right things. Inquisitor would work too, for some sort of like an aura build. But no, I have absolutely no plans about this character in the future at all. It's just for this video, I would say. Luxer was asking if you had... He's saying, did you play Titan Quest 2 when it was a thing? Yeah, I have. Not as much as I have played Grim Dawn, definitely nowhere near close. I've had like a couple of playthroughs. They were not necessarily that great. One thing that I can tell is that like devotions added, like they're very big in Grim Dawn in comparison to like Titan Quest. I have tried and checked out Titan Quest a couple more times even after Grim Dawn, and I would say like devotions are beautiful. Right. There we go. Ouch. If I have to guess, that is Pierce. 17 Pierce resistance is arrowing me from far away with regeneration over on him. I do hit hard too. We could use some sort of like a component called 6 Watch, maybe even a couple of them, to get some Pierce resistance at the start of Act 2, which is where we're at. Pierce, like on top of like the poison and the elemental resistances that were kind of important up to this point, Pierce and Bleed becomes a little bit important too, for sure. I'm gonna kill the boss of this cave. There's also a one-shot chest next to him, so I'd like to take that. And we can walk out of it, it's fine. Cold and Frostburn, you've seen it, like, even though Ring of Rime Fire, this is so cool actually. Even though this is a pistol, like, maybe I should use it. I don't know, it does require me to drop my other thing, but it's an elemental scaling ring, kinda cool. Kuro is like, your Righteous Fire build looks fun. This guy's quite resistant to cold, I think. My boots, we're gonna need to say bye to them because this is just crazy damage. Really want it. Level 23 though. Ah. Oh well. I'm gonna walk out of the cave. Most of the time what I do is that like I usually go ahead and like take the waypoint and then turn back for the cave. Because like I have a waypoint waiting, you know, like I kind of like open a portal while I'm running through. But this time I'm doing something different. This time we're taking the second exit, which is gonna let me kill some undead over here. Why not? And grab more loot. Uh oh. Excuse me. Cheers. Thank you, Gresh. Ah! I don't want to die. The knight was just too resistant. I was hoping he would hit the floor before I did, but not quite. I'm gonna put one more point. The reason is like 2 more points actually. Okay, so the reason is because like 6 points total speed right now, as you can see. It becomes 7, it becomes 8, but the next click is not gonna make it 9, so there's like a skip over there. I'm gonna need to make this like 8 in total, you know. So I'm just gonna stop at that point. I think we can focus on something else. We have the option of basically maxing out the blade burst if I want to deal a little bit of like right click damage as well. Or what you could do also is that like you could take the Ring of Frost with the Ring of Steel at this point and transition towards some sort of like a AoE clear. You know what I mean? Like every time with the Ring of Steel you're gonna be hitting like a lot of cold damage. The Ring of Frost is basically transmuting the Ring of Steel and making sort of like the entire pierce damage that was dealt with this is in fact cold damage now, which is what we're gonna scale, so it would be nice. I think we're gonna max out the blade burst at this point though. I'll do it. So that like we have a little bit of like damage on our, you know, attacks as well. I just remembered that like we have taken Devotion Shrine inside the cave. Let's put that point in. Elemental resistance 8% now. Fire is maxed out. My HP is a little lower than I would like it to be. A floating eyeball. Beholden! Hopefulness was saying, should I focus on items with resistances or more damage while leveling? I mean, there's no right answer to this. For the most part, you're playing an ARPG just like any other RPGs. Like, it is going to be easier for you to play optimally if you take care of your resistances for the most part, right? It's very hard to speak like from the get-go. Like I would like to see your character to be able to like tell you a little bit strictly. Like if you're running around with 40% fire resistance, that's just too low, you know. I would be okay to like sacrifice a tiny little bit if it's giving me like a massive DPS increase or something. So I think we turn back to the town because we're gonna put the cold stones now, which is gonna increase my cold damage quite crazy amounts. So this guy right over here, the inventor, he's a guy that we saved in Act 1. He's capable of like salvaging, so we're gonna like put these items, keep the item, and get rid of those, and we will start using the cold stones. I'll put my orders on the secondary bar if I can open it. Let's see, chilling weapons is the aura that we gain from the cold stone. And we were also talking about something else. Now, when it comes to, like, if you're very new to this game, there's actually a video called Components for Beginners in my YouTube, and it's about like 8 minutes long, if I'm not mistaken. That is definitely something that I would suggest you to check out. 100%. It will make your components, you know, understanding of components so much better. But for the most part, what we're gonna do over here is that, like, we'll put some, like, valuable stuff here and there. I like to run some sort of, like, a runestone on my helm. I like to run some sort of, like, a wardstone on my medal. What you could do is that, like, you can hover over an item that doesn't necessarily have a component on it, but you need to be wearing that item to begin with. And you can hold control to basically, like, hide the tooltip as well. And then if you pay attention to my, like, components in my bank, some of them will be lighting up. So it's basically telling me, like, you could use these, you know what I mean? So we're gonna take some vitality and bleed resistance from this. Do I have, like, any ward stones or something? Let's see. I don't have a completed one, I think, for some reason. I have ward stones. That's interesting. I need to craft one. Fair enough. I'm gonna take a couple of, like, Mark of Illusions for my rings. Not the entire thing. Let's take, like, 5 of them into my bags. Start using them around, like, level 24. It's gonna scale elemental damage. Gonna probably craft, like, a runestone or something for my helm. And we were talking about, you know, Pierce and the bleed resistance. Pierce is going to start hurting. So what we need is something called Silk Swatch. Get that too, for sure. That is going to be, like, you could actually, like, put that to Pence chest piece and his shoulders, I believe. Runestone is right over here. I played too much Breath of Exile, using the wrong key bindings. We can take, like, a movement speed, right? Get that. The Mark of the Traveler movement speed for there. Alternatively, what you could also use, like, for the rings and the amulets is another thing is the Soul Shard, which is giving you a lot of vitality resistance, just making it, like, completely irrelevant throughout the normal playthrough at least. That's very, very good. For the belt, I usually just go for, like, Anti-Venom Salve. I usually go for, like, 2 Anti-Venom Salves, actually. So, like, 2 Six Watchers and 2 Anti-Venom Salves. Most of the time. So, let's craft some, like, Anti-Venom Salves. 2 Anti-Venom Salves over here. I'm gonna put one into my belt for sure. And then, I was saying, like, 6 Watchers. Let's see. There it is. I need, like, one more. I would like to make, like, 2 of these, I think. So let's get a resilient placing going. Can put some like this. Okay, so Wardstone. I think I have the runestones, right? Yeah, just want to roll Wardstone, just one. So Wardstone is capable of giving me elemental and bleed resistance. Look at my bleed resistance. We started like 20% or something, now it's 80. Pierce, if I wanted to, I could put like one more 6 watch to my chest. But in this case, I think I'm gonna play it a little bit like more offensive. I'm gonna take Chains. Where is it? That one maybe? Chains of all around, there we go. We're level 27. And I lost it. Let's grab like 3 of them. Yeah, I'm gonna put Chains of Alaran at level 27. Till then, that's alright. Sell these things. Lightning damage. Hey, cold multipliers, look at this. Ice Spike as well, chance on attack. Fair enough. Which one are we like putting away? The right one seems to be a little bit better in my opinion. I'll take that cold stone out of it. So this is what I was talking about, like even though, you know, we applied a cold stone on this and we're like replacing that weapon now, we can come back to this. Instead of like keeping the weapon this time, we're gonna keep the add-on so that the cold stone is, you know, not wasted. So in the worst case, you can always like keep the add-on, and there's absolutely no reason for you to like not use a component in that regard, right? Just need to like open the aura one more time, that's it. So, if you would like to compare this character to yours, I could tell you my cold percentages right now, after opening the cold multipliers. With the cold stones, double cold stones, we're sitting on like 314 cold modifier. 200% of it is coming just from cold stones. So it is very big at this level. And our run speed after all this is 128, so we're only missing like 7% more. And I should be able to kill almost everything with just, you know, getting close to them now, other than like the elites. Thanks for the link, by the way, Pekka. Appreciate it. Could maybe find a royal jelly. Found one so far. Yes, Uncle is asking, I'm an AOM elite with Cold Trickster. My nice chill doesn't come close to killing any trash. Is that normal? I'm what, like 1000% in cold. I cannot necessarily tell if you're like, if your cold percentage is good at this point or not. But when it comes to like the nice chill alone, you could take the nice chill up to a point where it is capable of killing at the very least like the irrelevant monsters, like the little skeletons that are around me at any point of the game, even an ultimate. In your case, it's definitely not surprising that it's not that impactful, but you gotta remember the fact that it's also applying minus cold resistance, which is probably what you're, you know, dealing. So it is insane still, even if it's not capable of, you know, dealing the damage or like relevant damage. But what's like, if you would like to make some sort of a character that has like, you know, impactful or like relevant nice chill damage at any point of the game, what I would suggest is like go to grimtools.com and go to the item database there and write nice chill or Veil of Shadow. See what sort of like modifiers can you get, what sort of MIs can you get that are going to be buffing this. There are some like cool stuff that are capable of adding even further damage to this aura. You might be able to do something that's going to, you know, make the character more fun to play or shape it towards your liking. And in that case, like, you don't necessarily need to do this for Veil of Shadow, you could actually do it for literally everything. There are lots of like special items out there that are capable of buffing skills in one way or the other that you could farm in this game. So this was what I was wondering if it's gonna proc anytime soon, and it is the Howling Wind that is coming from our Windborn Greaves, which is very good. We were quite lucky finding this actually. Ooh, one more Royal Jelly. How many Royal Jellies do we have, guys? 2? We're gonna need one more, so I'm gonna do this beehive right here and hope to find one more. The Beehive boss is gonna drop too. That's nice to know. It's like always, Scissor. It's like a guaranteed drop. 21. Always? Okay, nice, nice. That's one more than what I need then. Yeah, all those components, man. This was insane. Let's get out of here. So it is definitely possible for you to be like in your first playthrough, and at this point you don't necessarily have like a frozen heart. This is one of the annoying shrines that actually requires a frozen heart. I was very lucky that I've ended up like finding 3 so far. Not gonna lie, this is like very hard to do. Unless if you're like hitting every single corner of the map, I would say. But yeah, I would try to like keep these, you know, take them out from my components. There's nothing wrong with like using them on your rings and stuff, but in that case, like I would take out the component instead of the ring later on when I find a new ring. Start using this instead of what though? Instead of this guy, maybe. Let's go like this. Okay. I like to take this waypoint. If you have a dynamite at this point, which we have like 2 of them, and if you're into like getting some items, you could also hit a cave right over here. I'll show you. How much coin? Let's bribe this guy off. Alright. But you do need a dynamite for this, just once. You have to open the way. It's not a bad place to hit. Even if you don't enter the cave, like this is in my opinion still worth. You can open up like a couple of chests here, maybe kill an elite or 2 even if you're lucky. So we have like triple chests here as you can see. That summit was beautiful. Just everything lining up. Which was proccing every time with every single blade burst. It's actually hitting for 450, right? Am I even hitting that hard with my weapons? Yeah, I am. I'm hitting for about like 700 or something. Chris is asking if you're playing Final Fantasy 14 at all. Second. Ouch. Hold up a second. Let's kill the peasants first. Oh, the rat is dead. And this guy just wasted his entire ability, I would say. We got a dynamite as well. So this was pretty much like the loot that I came here for. There's no other thing to loot. Let's go back to like Devil's Crossing. I'll return like every single quest that I could up to this point. We saved like a family or something on the right side, if you remember. How's my devotion looking like? So we can do the same thing that we have done to like this green, you know, the blue thing after completing the Skull is Light. Which is also giving me elemental damage, even more cold damage percentage. This is very good. So I'm gonna talk to the Spirit Guide. This is a good point to do it. I'll take out this thing. What was I building up to? Oh, I actually need the blue though. Right. For that one we do. I'm thinking about like, instead of taking the Crossroads, I'm thinking about taking some other blue instead. Something like Eel goes very good for the character that we're playing. So before going to the Yamatok, I think we're gonna go for Eel. I think so. And then I really do enjoy taking Solo Mochi for most of my characters because of like defensive ability and more defensive ability and physique. Very good and solid constellation here. So that's gonna like end up fixing the build up towards this as well if I take the Eel. If you pay attention, like we have 5 blues. I'm gonna have 5 more blues when I complete the Eel for very cheap. So I'll take it. Now we have a couple of like quests to turn back over here as well. Let's see. So there's something that I would like to mention here about this quest is that like if you're playing on a fresh account, like almost the one that I simulated other than, you know, my components so far, the components are going to be a little bit more of a headache for you at the very start, of course. That was like the only thing that I've cheated with so far though, using my bank, that is. You're not gonna have a relic. And this is an easy way to like find yourself a relic on any single character. What ends up happening in this quest is that like we found an elder. We're telling this guy that like we found the elder, but we are gonna lie to him that I did not find a talisman with him. And we will keep the talisman for ourselves in this case. And as you can see now, we have a relic. This is giving you Bone Talisman, it's giving you Physique, Cunning, and Spirit, but more importantly, it's going to give you an ability called Mana Infusion. And unless you're playing like a summoner, this thing is absolutely insane. What you do with this is that like it gives 100% all damage. It's not necessarily multiplicative, it's just additive. So what that means is that like, as you know, I've already like 350%. So when I press, this is going to be 450% instead of, you know, back to back. You see 450, thanks to that. And while it's active, it's also giving me crazy amounts of like energy regeneration. You definitely don't need to worry about energy regen anymore when this is up. So I would suggest you to like use this on a character, on any character that is not necessarily a summoner. And I'll suggest you to use it like when you're engaging something with quite lots of HP, let's say. Like instead of using it on cooldown or something. All right. We're okay there too. With the stats, let's give like one more physique. Can I thank you? Probably not the slam, but okay, let's dodge the slam. He gave me an ancient heart. That's crazy. So this is something that you do. That is like what you just saw is usually like how I speedrun. Basically like 2 shadow strikes, just jumping to the left top of my screen, like that, and just keep on jumping, yeah, while rushing for the quests. But you definitely don't need to be playing it that way, like especially when you reset your account or if you're playing a first character, second character, whatever. It's much more fun to just like enjoy and, you know, take it slow and optimize. I cannot touch them from there? Okay. Our damage is surprisingly good, even though I have like very bad weapons. I must say. My weapons are absolutely terrible actually. We could have gotten a little bit luckier with the weapons. It would have been definitely a little bit better if I was checking out like every single, you know, rare item drop, I suppose. Ouch. Looks better closer zoomed into. See the effects up close. Regular play. I basically don't use the vanish movement rune. Which one do you use? Which one is like your favorite one? They're dying to my aura before I can touch them. It's an interesting place right now. Not the Revenants, of course not. Something like Hellgate London, Kuro. Imagine those spells in that game. That'd be kind of cool now. Disengage is the worst one. I've never used the disengage one. Let's go to the Beehive place. Fine. The infestation. Oh, battered shell. Another battered shell. And a third one. What's going on, you guys? Evening, Dudu. Welcome, VGTs. Death Chill Relic Hype at 35. Maybe. Perhaps. That bearer. Is the patch out? I don't think so. Hopefully soon. You like the teleports, the Virus Ride, and the Leap. I really like the teleports as well, but the best one. Not the regular one that's available from the Quartermaster. I think that one is really short. And high cooldown. But yeah, Virus Ride is very cool though. Should agree. So it is like the regular charge, it doesn't necessarily need a target. In fact, level 24 would have been a big deal for me. Definitely. It's like light reduce and armor. I'm gonna go back real quick to the Devil's Crossing so that like I can take the 6 rush out of my shoulder. In this case, if you'd like to play defensive, in a comparison like this, these two armor pads, like I think the right one is a little bit better because like we're actually missing the pierce, poison, and bleed resistance. I'm gonna do something stupid and gonna play with the offensive one that's like 19% amount of damage. That's alright. What about those? Hey, we had more items here. What's going on? Some cold multipliers here. This is not bad at all. Chain lightning, chance on attack. Storm charge. Yeah. Even more cold multipliers. Instead of like the right weapon we could use, Ring of Rime Fire. Fair enough, let's start using this. Take that cold stone out of my weapon. There were a lot of resistances on those boots, you guys, but even like stun. Let's go fetch Cron. That's gonna be 35 Riptidai, you're saying, with 7% Aether resistance. I wouldn't be surprised dying here. 1600 HP on Lost Tomb. See how it goes. Okay, when he has the aura, he almost doesn't necessarily take any damage unless you are like an Arcanist. Nullification definitely removes the buff. That's as Rari said. It wasn't too bad. Tainted brain matter too. My damage actually, even in single target right now, is looking very good. Surprisingly good. Wasn't expecting this much. But yeah, I'm definitely very susceptible to him. Not only my armor is stable, my HP is not necessarily that great, and he's Aether as well, which we have almost no resistance to. What I like to do in this game is that, like in this case, I always keep one for myself, and it ends up giving you this cluster. This is basically like a global damage reduction, 75% damage reduction, and you can use this with like any single character out there. You don't necessarily need to be Nightblade. So what I would suggest is that like have a key binding for yourself for every character that you will, you know, bind an Aether cluster. And whenever you have that oh shit moment, you will have the same button to press on every single one of them, which is, you know, 7 for me. Not the greatest, of course. I can reach it. I have been able to reach it so far. Not the 8, but the 7 I have been. No, I'm kidding though. Like I think G is it. I don't know. We can check it out. Let me see. Shit. I thought I had like one more button for this. Maybe not. Could have sworn like I've set one more button for this. Oh, rip. Let me see. It's actually bugging me. Yeah, it is G. Why isn't it using it? It's because I'm full HP, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, okay, there we go. That was the first thing that I checked. Let's get out. The golem thing is confirmed. I don't want to show them, but like, you're actually not that far off from the truth. Okay, you want to see my thumb? Look at this. Do you see this shit? You see this? Do we have a banana? No? Shit. Could have used it for a scale. Grish was saying, Cluster is like Val Molten Shell on Juggernaut. The banana finger. No man, just to use it as a scale. We could go to the beehive as well over here, the legendary beehive that is full of legendaries. Obviously at this level, they do not exist, but it should still be quite rewarding, we'll see. Some batter shells. Those are the legendaries of this level. Do we save them, you guys? Give them like 300 iron bats and take them to Devil's Crossing. You do deserve a second chance. As far as I know, there's nothing that you can gain from this quest line. It's not even a proper quest, doesn't even give you experience, but yeah. This click is giving me defense and a chance to avoid projectiles. Any elites to the side? Not really. Start the quest then. "24 was the big level because like we're capable of using the runestone on the helm. And then we're capable of using Mark of Illusions on my accessories. Which is actually going to be giving me crazy amounts of defensive ability. Some elemental and some aether resistance. That's also why I was saying like it would have been better if I was level 24 versus you know, Cromley. But it's ended up being alright, I would say. That's okay. We also have this weapon that I could use. It's definitely better than mine. I'm gonna replace the left one. Take that gold stone out once again. So in fact, I think this is going to be, that's a very good medal as well, waiting for 25 for me. That is going to be it from this character for now. Thanks for watching stream. I'll be calling it for today. And if you're new to the game, if you're like wondering if you should buy it and stuff, like as I said, chrono.gg right now, if you write like exclamation chrono in the chat, you could have a deal for yourself. If you're into ARPGs, especially like old style, like Diablo 2, Titan Quest, this game definitely will consume and give you quite a lot of content. For sure. And YouTube, cheers for watching too. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's give this... There are like a couple of quests over here that I need to turn. I'm not going to give my dynamite to that guy just yet. My friendly with this guy, so this opens up. And give the royal Jiri to him. Or to her, I suppose. No, I think that's it. So 16 points is exactly looking like this. This is, in my opinion, looking very good for a start. Yeah, from here, let me know like how you're gonna shape your character up. I'm pretty sure like there will be a lot of people that are going to, you know, follow this and will be wondering like the rest of the build. I'm actually not going to be giving it. Because I would transition like quite drastically different on every single other thing. But I would most likely, with a character like this, I would most likely stay cold. For sure. Yo, thanks for watching stream.